Well, hey, you guys. So this won't come as an absolute shock, or it shouldn't, but apparently Gen Z has come up with yet another trending term that is going viral on the internet, and it's called money dysmorphia. And it refers to feeling confused about where you are financially compared to other people, right? Like, are you ahead? Are you behind? Are you checking all the right boxes? Are you doing all the right steps? I mean, these are questions that so many people are wrestling with, and I think we all have at some point. So whether you call it comparison culture or money dysmorphia, or even discontentment, a lot of you are constantly wondering how we're doing financially compared to everybody else. And even if we know deep down that social media is just a highlight reel, and we always know that the grass isn't always greener on the other side, it's still really easy to get discouraged when you see other people doing all of these things and having all of these wins that maybe you have not experienced yet. So today I want to talk to you about the real reason you might be feeling behind with your money. We'll talk about the root of the issue, and I'll give you some practical tips on how to climb out of that negative headspace and get clear on your financial goals. All right, first, let's talk about contentment for a sec. So if you know me at all, contentment is something that I really value, and it's something that I have to work on for myself, because contentment is this place that you have this level of gratitude and awareness about your life, and you have peace with what you have. And yes, you can still be striving for more and still have goals, but that's coming out of a place of health rather than a place of feeling like, oh my gosh, I need these things to be okay, right? So this contentment place is really, really good. And when you look around at everyone on the internet, you guys, even if you're practicing contentment and you're trying to be aware of it, it is still easy to feel like, oh my gosh, but everybody is winning. Everyone is doing all these amazing things. They have this amazing life. But remember, I'm here to remind you, you're not seeing the whole picture. And I know it's hard to remember sometimes, and you can get into this belief system, even if you watch someone's stories and you feel like you know their whole life. You don't. So remember, your life and where you're at when you have peace and gratitude, knowing that, hey, I am where I'm supposed to be, and you have that peace, that is going to be huge for you. Okay, so now what does all this have to do with your money? Well, the way I see it, practicing contentment is a huge key to breaking the comparison culture cycle. Because once comparison is no longer part of your financial discussions, then you really are unstoppable when it comes to building wealth. Because it's not about everyone else and what everyone else is doing or not doing, it's about you. So to break it down, contentment affects your money in three main ways. Because people who are content, I find, tend to save more. They end up saying no to other stuff, and they're like, yeah, we're actually going to have the margin to not feel like, oh, we have to go and spend everything, but we're going to actually, take some of this and save. It's amazing. Content people really do save more. Content people also find it easier to sacrifice their lifestyle to pay off debt. Because if you're not just trying to keep up and have this norm of what everyone else is doing, that this is where I'm going to live, when you actually say, okay, good for them, we're going to probably live a few notches below that. We may not go on that vacation this summer that everyone's going on. We may not drive that car. We may not live in that kind of house. We may not send our kids to that kind of school. Like whatever it is, you kind of lower that bar, then naturally your lifestyle is lowered. And usually the result of that is you have more money. When you're doing less things and spending more money, you're going to have more margin. And also I find content people are generous. It is an amazing thing when you are just so thankful and grateful for where you are and you have that peace, and a need comes along and you have the money, you're like, oh yeah, you can let it go that much more easy because you're not thinking of opportunity costs, of, oh, that money could have bought me this or that. No, it's for other people, and it's to serve and to give, and it's a really beautiful thing. So when you're truly content, you are able to live in that peace because the trends and the comparison culture, they don't threaten your self-worth and who you are. So next, let's talk about how to track your progress with contentment and your finances. But before we do that, I want to tell you about a faith-based alternative to health insurance that can make healthcare more affordable: Christian Healthcare Ministries. CHM allows members to share each other's healthcare costs, and it's as easy as 1, 2, 3. So step 1, choose your healthcare provider that you want. Step 2, submit your eligible bills. And step 3, get reimbursed. CHM members take care of your eligible medical bills. And with no networks and the freedom to choose your healthcare provider, CHM is the best option for Christians who want to take care of their families and help other believers. So to find out more, go to chministries.org/budget. All right, here are a few questions that can help you understand the state of your money and increase your capacity for contentment. First off, can you afford your basic needs? So your basic needs in today's world is food, shelter, utilities, and transportation, okay? Making sure that you have food, you are able to eat, making sure your rent, your mortgage is paid, making sure your water, your lights are on, and making sure you have gas for your car, or if you do public transportation, you have the means to get to and from work. So are those things covered? Also ask yourself, do you know how to save for what you want out of life? So when it comes to things like, hey, we want you to pay off debt first, all of that. But when you think about, I want to save for my dreams and my hopes and these goals that I have. Like if you thought about, okay, once we get out of debt, if you have debt, and maybe you have your emergency fund, all of that. But beyond that, like, do you have the ability to really tactically say, yeah, we have this big goal to do X, Y, or Z, and actually see a pathway moving forward? And it may not be in the next 12 months, but over time to be able to say, hey, yeah, we can accomplish that. Also, can you reach a maintenance phase so that financial peace is long lasting? So what I mean by that is that you get to this place that like your income, it very much, takes on your lifestyle. You're able to use your money. You're not going into debt for that. And you have margin. You have margin to maybe save for long-term things that you're wanting. You're able to say, yeah, we're at a place where we're going to be able to give more than we thought we would. Like getting to that maintenance phase is going to give you financial peace because again, there's not this like chaos or like, oh, if this happens, oh my gosh, we're not going to be okay. You have all these bills, like all this stuff to get to a point where you're like, yes, this consistency, this stability is really nice. And you guys, like at that point, again, it may look different for everyone depending on where you live, what city you're in, how many kids you have, like all of that. When you get to that kind of maintenance phase, like that's a good place to be. So we've talked about comparison traps, contentment, how to gauge your progress and your identity, your goals, all of it. Now, the only thing that remains is to give you tools to move forward. And can I tell you, one of the best tools that you can use is EveryDollar. EveryDollar is what I use every single day to track my expenses and follow a budget. And again, the boring habits that people say, those are the things that really propel you long-term. Like those are the things that keep you on track and keep you focused. So go to everydollar.com and make a budget today for free and get started. Because again, it's a slow and steady ride that we're on when it comes to building wealth and getting control of our money, but it is worth the ride. And for more ways to practice contentment while you're pursuing your financial goals, be sure to check out my episode on living content and saving money. And as always, you guys, remember to take control of your money and create a life you love.